Or you see people actually raise their hands and move them at the same time. Well, I just don't do that. You know, I can do this. Now, I'm certainly not criticizing anybody because I've been in all those places myself. I remember the first time going into church and seeing people raise their hands. I'm thinking, you know, my first thought was, raise your hand if you're sure. You know, I'm thinking, what the world is going on here? You know, and people would all raise their hands. And of course, everybody would sing. I'm thinking, man, oh, singing. You know, it's not just the people on the platform singing. Everybody's singing. You know, I'm starting to think these people enjoy church. You know. So, you know, and then I started seeing people. Oh, I saw people getting hands laid on them. Whoa. I remember the very first service I was in, people started speaking in tongues. And you know, this was around the time when they started showing movies about Jim Jones. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. So here I am, I come into church, you know, and I'm sitting in this row, okay? Of course, it wasn't the front row. I'm sitting back in this row, and it was a small storefront building, and they had some chairs in this building, in the building. All right, so I'm sitting, and there was a wall at this end. There was a wall right here. So the chairs came right to the wall, and I'm sitting right here next to the wall. I think the church probably had maybe 7 rows of chairs. So I'm back around the 6th row, 5th row, and I'm next to the wall. The reason I'm next to the wall is so I can lean, you know. So I get in, I'm sitting down next to the wall. My daughter's sitting next to me, you know, and we're there. And everybody stands up for worship. So, hey, okay, they're standing up, let's stand up. You know, I have to understand, too, now I'm really happy to be saved. I had just gotten saved, I'm really happy to be saved, but I know nothing. Nothing. So there I am, I'm sitting in the church. They start singing, people raising their hands. This is really strange to me. It's really, really weird, you know. And they're just sitting there, and they had some guest speakers in, guest music people in that was friends of the pastor and his wife. And they're doing the worship service, and in the middle of the worship service, they start singing in tongues. And I'm like, oh, what is this? You know, and I'm next to the wall. You know, I can't get out unless I run some people over, you know, So I'm thinking, how do I get out of here? You know, this is weird. You know, I'd never heard anything like that. Well, then that all just kind of settled down. They just settled down, okay. Got done with the music. Then the pastor got up and started teaching. Well, I started hearing things like when I first got saved, I wound up right into a Word of Faith church. And I started hearing things that was like, oh. And in my spirit, I was just soaking it in. I felt like a sponge soaking it in. Well, about that time, guess what? Tongues really didn't matter anymore. I didn't understand it, but that word was just like, wow, you know. And so I went home, and, you know, next week I'm thinking about, during the week I'm thinking about going to church. Well, I'm thinking about the tongues. I don't understand any of that. I don't know what any of that stuff is about, but I know that word was good. And that word drew me back again. And I'd keep going back because of that word until I got an understanding about all the other stuff, the raising of their hands, the speaking in tongues. But you know what? If I ran away from that stuff, I never would have stretched. I never would have extended my curtains. I never would have moved. I would have stayed within the confines of what I could understand. Well, if I can't understand it, it can't be right. I didn't know you were that smart. Okay, I'll be nice. But isn't that the way we think? That's the way we think. If I don't understand it, it can't be right. Well, then you must be a genius. You must know everything. All right, how many of you have ever gotten a job? That's it? Come on. I expected every hand. How many of you won't raise your hands no matter what I ask you? Come on. A rough crowd. All right, so you go out and get a job. How many of you, when you got your job, learned something new? Something you didn't even understand. Wow. And you didn't quit. It's amazing. You didn't quit. You didn't understand it. What did you choose to do? My goodness. So how come when it comes to the things of God, we don't know stuff, we don't understand stuff, and the first thing we do is, oh, I have nothing to do with that, and leave? What happened to learning? Oh, I'm sorry, you got paid on the job, didn't you? Are you telling me that that money made you want to learn? That money made you want to stretch? That money made you want to increase? But if they ain't paying me, you know, and then there's that other thinking. Well, you know, all they ever want in church is your money. Really? Really? Well, let me ask you this. How many of you ever been to Walmart? That's it? Come on, y'all go to Walmart. Okay, you've been to Walmart. You go to Walmart, you pick something up. Let's say you go in something simple. All right, you go into Walmart, you pick up a pair of blue jeans. Ladies, maybe you pick up some makeup. And maybe you pick up a loaf of bread. And you walk out of the store. Does anybody walk out of the store? Now, what do you have to do first? Now, okay, so what happens if you walk out of the store with the stuff and you didn't stop at the checkout place? Now why are they going to stop you? All they want is your money. That's all they want. They are not there to help you eat, to have the right kind of clothes to wear, or make life better by helping you save money. They want your money. That's all that they want. That's why they're in business. But yet you just keep going back. And yet all they want is your money. So do you see how our thinking really does kind of mess us up? You know, through the years, there's been lots of scandals in the church. And that's why I don't go. I don't go to church anymore. Because the scandals just too much for me. And, you know, and people, they're not really, they don't always treat me friendly. They're not always kind and nice. And they don't always have nice things to say. So I just don't go anymore. I just don't go. All right, how many of you people have money in the bank? Savings account? I know. Is that it? All right, so how many of you know that through the years there have been scandals in the banks? But you just keep using them. Have you ever been someplace where they didn't treat you nice, didn't talk to you nice? The salesperson may have been a little rude. Did you go back to that store? Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. It just amazes me that we just keep going back over and over again. You come to church, right? You come to church. You can't bring coffee in the sanctuary. Well, I'll tell you, I don't know what they want to do. What am I, a child? You think I can't have coffee and not spill the coffee? What? You treat me like I'm a kid. I can't have coffee in the sanctuary. What do you mean I have to sit here? I want to sit over there. Don't tell me where I'll sit where I want to sit. But you will pay $90 stinking to go into Walt Disney World. They'll tell you where to stand, where to walk, how to drink, and how to act, and you'll say, yeah, okay, anything else you want me to do? So what's the point to all this? I don't know. I've just enjoyed telling all these stories. The point is that in one area we have certain kind of thinking. In another area we have totally different kind of thinking. But yet it's all the same. And we just choose to think one way in one area and another way in another area. You know why? Because the devil's not out to deceive you about Walmart. He's not out to deceive you about Walt Disney World. He's not out to deceive you about the banks. He's only out to deceive you about the church. And when it comes to your soul, if there's anything he's going to play on you about, it's going to be the church. Because that's the only place that change is going to happen.